poverty rate. It's not just about knowing the GDP, but it's about contextualizing the numbers that we are going to share with you. What I mean by statistics, not about numbers, is the fact that once you think about any figure, the most important part of the figure is how does it compare with what has happened in the past.
Data is a multidimensional requirement in planning. And as a country, as has been outlined earlier, we don't have the data. 10 years ago, we had the National Population Census. We still use the same data in preparing our budget, in allocating funds, and yet poverty is still abounds in this country.
One of the strategic objectives in the 2020 to 2024 corporate plan for Ghana Statistical Service is to strengthen our engagement with the Parliament. And for that reason, we've been engaging Parliament to the extent that we have a project under the theme Data for Accountability Project. And what we intend to do is to service Parliament with near real-time data as we get it from the field to inform the decisions that they make. We are doing this at two levels. One is building the capacity of honorable members of Parliament on the data generation process, and this is what we're going to service them with all the documentation around the data, which we call the metadata, so that once they are using the data, they use it in the context in which the data was generated and the intent for which the data was generated.
Less than 50% of UN member states produce data regularly on those indicators. Like maternal mortality. The concept of maternal mortality is clear, but not all countries, including Ghana, could regularly produce data for monitoring maternal mortality. Because maternal mortality, since I work with GSS, I've been with GSS for 22 years now, we have only conducted maternal mortality survey twice. And so it means that those are the only time we have comprehensive information on actual maternal mortality on the ground, 2007 and 2017. Every other year, what we get from the Ghana Health Service is institutional maternal mortality. And you and I know, because you represent the people, that a woman is more likely to lose her life when she delivers at home than when she delivers at a health facility. And these are not accounted for in the institutional maternal mortality.
When we had the engagement with the ASEPA to attend this workshop in relation to data gathering and usage in our monitoring and evaluation as a committee, we're actually imagining what kind of data and what we are coming to look at the workshop. But for today's engagement, it has given the way clear that it is a very useful workshop, and the data we are discussing with the Statistical Service and the NDPC and then other agencies is something that will really enhance our work as a committee going to monitor, particularly in reference to the Sustainable Development Goals.
What I like about this whole process is that we are dealing with data not just at the averages level or at the headline level, but we are looking at disaggregations deep down, so we are able to tell where the problem areas are, the challenges in there, and then we solve them in a well-targeted way. And I think that it's a good way to go as far as the use of data for implementing and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and all the other international commitments that come along with Ghana's commitments.
Halfway going into the workshop, we realized that the information we are getting and the kind of data we are receiving, we didn't even know that we have such data standing with the Minister of Finance and then the Statistical Service and the NDPC. Now they've availed those information and data to us. And I think that will really impact positively in our oversight role as members of Parliament, both at the national level and in our constituencies at the districts.
I believe this is a very good exercise because it's part of budget scrutiny that we're able to meet these members of Parliament to also bring them to date, also give them more insight as to how they should do their scrutiny, what they should look out for in their various districts. And I think this also improves service delivery, because what gets measured gets done. By this, they will also now have new skills to also peruse the various budgets and then improve on service delivery.
I want to recommend that beyond this committee on poverty and finance being trained, other committees in Parliament could also take advantage. In fact, all our parliamentarians to take advantage of this project and know what is happening in their various constituencies to help accelerate the implementation of the SDGs, and of course in the context of our national structures and frameworks.
Our goal in this project that we've been running over the last 2 years is to make sure that we support our parliament so that our democratic discourse is driven by evidence and is driven by data. And most importantly, discourse and deliberations and issues related to the Sustainable Development Goals are driven by data and evidence. So that's why we brought this very important committee in our parliament, a committee that is concerned with issues of growth and poverty. It affects all of us because of the chunks of our population that are considered poor.
This meeting with the Committee of Poverty Finance from Parliament is basically to expose them to some of the processes that we go through in getting some of the data out. The essence is to, when they understand the processes, they know the data that is available to help them in their implementation of policies and also do targeted policies. For instance, when we present to them the multidimensional poverty, which exposes how poverty is at the grassroots, and know that poverty can come from different dimensions, it helps the committee so that in planning or implementing policies, it will be more targeted at the beneficiary.
This seminar has actually been a great workshop for all of us. Currently, Digital Earth Africa has made it available for everybody in Africa to have access to this Earth observation data from 1985 up to now. Having this data is now available, how can you use it? This workshop of meeting with the MPs has actually helped them to appreciate this kind of data from Earth observation data that we are currently having within the country, and also showing it to others. And I know that this data that we're having can actually help us make good decisions, especially when it comes to this decision making for the country.
This has been a very important workshop that is being given to us by ASEPA in order to give us proper insight, skills as to how, as an oversight committee over all the ministries, agencies and departments, we should be able to perform our work.
The workshop has opened our eyes into what we can use the data and the statistics that has been taken from the various constituencies, various regions for. This workshop is very, very important because it helps in planning. If you have the data of your constituency, it helps you to know where it's lacking so that you can provide the necessary or you can help to mitigate some of the problems of your constituency. It also helps you to have a forehand information about the type of the group of people that you have. If you have the data of your constituency or the statistics of your constituency, you know the number of youth, the number of widows, the number of males and females, so that you'll be able to plan ahead.
There's been stimulating, the resource persons have done a fantastic job. I'm very grateful. I think that I'm walking away with a lot more information than I imagined, which is going to help me with my work with the assembly in my constituency, with the chief executive, and with all the other stakeholders that I engage on a daily basis. For the development of Ketu South, I think that for lack of knowledge on what's available, data, we have taken some decisions as a people, as a country, that perhaps does not inure to our benefit. So with this wealth of knowledge, information that is available to ASEPA, I'm hoping that going forward, we will be guided by the data they have and the resource that they have shared with us today.
This program is organized by ASEPA. So the committee will want to engage directly with the statistical service. So we need to be thinking about how we can do that, because we're putting so many things together. And so in narrowing down to some of the specific data and how we can access data, I think we need a lot more time and more engagement with statistical service.
So the meeting has been beneficial. The committee members really appreciate, and we believe with further collaboration, more information will be churned out, they understand it, and they will use it in their activities to the benefit of Ghana. At the end of it, the SDG objectives are obtained or achieved, and we leave no one behind.
So this interaction with this committee for us is very important, because we are feeding them with information, feeding them with data, feeding them with evidence that they need.